The first volume we're going to work with is the rectangular prism. The volume, designated with a capital V, of a rectangular prism is the product of the length, width, and height. The formula looks like volume equals length times width times height. Sometimes the equation is written as volume equals capital B times height, where the capital B is the area of the base, that is, the length times the width. This is especially true for the math reference sheet for the task exam. So whenever you see volume equals capital B times H, it's the same thing as volume equals length times width times height. Now we're going to jump into trying our first question. We'll need our formula. And we'll need our measurements. We're going to label our measurements. So the 6 feet is going to be our length. The 8 feet is going to be our width. And the 3 feet is going to be our height. So now we can plug these measurements into our formula. Volume equals our length, which is 6 feet, times our width, which is 8 feet, times our height, which is 3 feet. Since volume is on both the calculator and non-calculator section of the task exam, you want to make sure you're comfortable doing math in your head or using a sheet of paper. I'm going to take it 2 at a time. 6 times 8, I know, is 48. So I can bring down my 3 feet, and now I can do 6 times 48. So I find that my volume is 144. And since I had feet times feet times feet, my unit is going to be feet cubed. So our answer is volume equals 144 cubic feet. Let's try another example. We'll need our formula. And we'll need to label our measurements. I'm going to have the 8 inches be my length, the 2.5 be my width, and the 8 inch over here be my height. Let's plug these into our equation. Volume equals length. Our length is 8 inches, times width. Our width is 2.5 inches, and then times your height, which is 8 inches. This time I'm going to use my calculator to find out that 8 times 2.5 times 8 gives me 160. In my units, I have inches times inches times inches, so inches cubed. Moving on to example 2, I'm going to start with my formula again. Volume equals length times width times height. And I'm going to label my units. I'll let this be my length, my width, and my height. The next step will be to plug them into our equation. So our length is 8 centimeters. Times our width, which is 2 centimeters. And finally, times our height, which is 10 centimeters. These are all nice, friendly, small numbers. I think I can do this one in my head. 8 times 2 will give me 16, and 16 times 10 will give me 160 again. This time I have centimeters times centimeters times centimeters, so centimeters cubed. For our third example, let's start with our equation again. And label our measurements, length, width, and height. And we'll plug those in. Our length is going to be 6 feet times our width, 3.2, and times our height, 6 feet again. Using my calculator this time, I'll find that the volume equals 115.2, and our unit is cubic feet. Now it's time to try some on your own. Locate the volume of rectangular prisms practice questions in your Google Classroom. Please email your teacher if you have any questions.